What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. And that is only if you enjoy the content, of course. And I probably said it yesterday, but I feel like I haven't said it in a while. But a huge thank you to each and every one of you for being here today, for taking the time out of your days to come here and listen to my videos. It's absolutely amazing of you. So thank you so much. And once again, don't forget about the Halloween competition going on over on our Discord channel, where you can dress up and potentially win a prize at the end of the month. So come get involved there. It'd be great to see you. And let's get on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from engagement drama. Am I the arsehole for not getting a traditional engagement ring? I, 29 male, just proposed to my girlfriend, 27 female, of 4 years. She doesn't really like jewellery as a whole and has said she doesn't like diamonds. I was really struggling to find a ring that I thought she'd like enough to wear. My mother pulled me aside and offered me one. She had a beautiful sapphire ring that's been in my family for many years, and sapphire happens to be my fiance's birthday stone. I proposed with a ring and she loves it. She always commented on how pretty she thought the ring was, so I'm really happy she likes it so much. And I'm thrilled my mum approves of her so much she'd offer her a family ring. Not that it would have stopped me from proposing either way. My fiance's grandmother, however, has been up my arse ever since I proposed, and how I must not love her. How dare I give her a used ring? She can't believe her granddaughter doesn't have a diamond. Here's where I'm most likely the arsehole. We had dinner with her family and she wouldn't let up. My fiance said she loved the ring and didn't like diamonds. I didn't stop her grandmother, and finally I said, I'm sorry you feel that way, but you've made your disapproval clear. We don't need to keep beating the dead horse here. Now she's all sorts of offended and is demanding my fiance call off the wedding. My fiance's dad wants me to apologise to keep the peace with his mother, but my fiance doesn't want me to because she doesn't think I did anything wrong. So would I be the arsehole if I didn't apologise to her grandmother? And if I was in OP's position, I'd automatically say, I wouldn't apologise, so I can't say you're the arsehole in the situation. If someone was being rude to me like that and disrespectful, then hell no, I wouldn't apologise for it. And your girlfriend doesn't like, or your fiance doesn't like diamonds, so what is the issue? You're both happy, and she's the only one who's not happy, and she's not part of your relationship, so you know, fuck her. Not literally though, Jesus. And I kind of never get the obsession why it has to be diamonds all the time, and why the ring has to be mad expensive, it has to be like 2 or 3 times your paycheck. I just don't understand it. If you love each other enough and you don't want that sort of thing, then what is the issue, right? There is no issue. It's just all about the love, man. But anyway, let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Dicey Sarcasm says, not the arsehole as long as you don't apologise to the grandmother. You need to stand firm here. Your fiance supports how you handled it, and you both tried to be nicer about it, and she would not quit. And what you said wasn't even that rude to begin with. You just made it clear you and your fiance were done discussing it with her. You need to stand with your fiance on this, not give in to their ridiculous demands that you apologise to someone who's being an arsehole to you two. You would be the arsehole if you go behind your fiance's back and apologise to her grandmother, and basically saying that her treatment of you and your fiance was actually acceptable. Reddit create an account says, being old doesn't give you a free pass to be an arsehole. Not the arsehole. Fairykin says, not the arsehole as long as you didn't yell that at a grandma and just said it calmly. I don't wear jewellery often and don't like diamonds. My engagement/wedding ring, there was no way I was wearing 2 rings, is a silver set with amethyst and onyxes. It's pretty, it's very me, and I like it. Everyone else can suck it. I get a lot of flack for usually wearing it on a chain around my neck, but I don't give a fuck. Kinky Tatted Nerd says, no, I would not apologise. She's the only one who needs to be apologising for stirring the pot continuously and putting her nose where it does not belong. Not the arsehole. I think people should quit coddling and bending over to appease people like this to keep the peace, and instead address the behaviour that is actually disrupting the peace in the first place. Don't muzzle one person for another's incessant mouth. Now, I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? How would you deal with it? How would you have dealt with that grandmother? Would you apologise to her? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from Not Really Aggressive. Am I the arsehole for refusing to disclose my medical condition to my family, even though it might be genetic? I'll be blunt and short, I'm a schizophrenic, it sucks. Now I just found this out about a year or 2 ago after moving out. I've had symptoms all my stupid life since childhood, but the cause was always you watch too many scary movies, or something along these lines. My mum thought for whatever fucked up reason I was some sort of psychic or something. My hallucinations were ghosts or some shit. First thing I did when I moved out was go get tested. Surprise surprise, this isn't normal. I grew up thinking this was normal. Alas, it is not. I've been thinking I'm sort of messed up indigo child or something else like my family said. No. It's schizophrenia. Here's the thing, my family has had a recent baby boom. My sisters both had babies and my brother has just had a little boy with his baby mama. I guess they did genetic testing which led to the discussion of genetics. Then the joke started, well I just hope they don't turn out like their aunt, my mum joked. I spouted off that, what do I have? You probably fucking gave me. I refused to elaborate and now I'm getting texts about how my family need to know so they can test their child to make sure they're healthy because they're assuming it's something really messed up because I won't tell them. I feel like it's my business alone. Besides, I don't think you can test for it while they're babies. They're making me feel like an arsehole because if I don't tell them, they have to do all these expensive tests. Well, my logic is, if someone had at least googled my symptoms, they'd have had a vague answer and I'd have been treated ages ago. Now there is a slight update to this one which we will go over after the comment section, so judge it based on this initial story because this was obviously added after. But you got to say initially I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I can't imagine finding out that late in life and having to deal with that now, especially when you've just moved out as well. Tragic stuff, right? And your mum is definitely the arsehole for joking about this issue in front of you, in front of your family and making you feel like shit for it as well. And the fact this wasn't looked into earlier in life, so what you must have been going through growing up and to think what's normal now is oh man, makes me pretty cross about it actually. And although it's a totally personal issue, and this is totally my opinion which might be wrong, and please feel free to educate me if I am, but I think you still should tell the rest of your family what is going on so they can at least start to look into things. If it can't be diagnosed now, they can at least start to look for signs along the road, you know, because surely OP wouldn't want these kids to go through what OP's had to face. So the mum is definitely the arsehole, but for the story, I'd go for if she didn't go ahead and tell the rest of the family, I'd go for an everyone sucks here, just because of that. But let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Not Mateo says, maybe everyone will disagree with me here, but my judgment is you're the arsehole. Not because you want your privacy, which is completely fine and respectable, but because this issue is bigger than you now. Now you have the chance to save your nieces and nephews from the same bullshit you went through. Imagine if you knew about yourself earlier. This is coming from someone with BPD. If my mum hadn't known it ran in the family, I would have never probably have found out. And if I didn't find that out, I'd without a doubt be doing much worse than I am now. And I'd be personally pissed if I found out today that someone kept me from knowledge about myself that could have changed my life. Also, you've probably made them very afraid, which generally isn't cool. Beth from HR says, everyone sucks here. Your mother's comment was rude, making her an arsehole. No, you can't test for schizophrenia in children. You can't really do it in adults. Edit to clarify, diagnoses are made by observing symptoms and brain chemistry is different in people with schizophrenia, but there isn't a genetic or blood test. But being forewarned might give your nieces and nephews the opportunity to receive the mental and emotional support you didn't get access to when you were a child experiencing symptoms. Yes, your diagnosis is private, but you are the one who dropped the possibility of something being wrong to the new parents, and now you have the opportunity to prevent your nibblings from potentially growing up and having those same feelings of wrongness. California Jade says, OP, Google, is schizophrenia hereditary? It said that having a first degree relative FDR with schizophrenia is one of the greatest risks for the disorder. I'm sorry you weren't treated earlier. I can only imagine your childhood. Your medical history is yours alone, and you know your family best. If there is a chance they will use this against you or gaslight you about this, keep it private. Not the arsehole. Talking Radio says, you're the arsehole, so instead of telling them what you have and foregoing the whole back and forth for years to come, you're going to be petty and it could possibly affect your nieces and nephews' lives. Or could you want to get back at their parents? Don't let you being disgruntled possibly affect kids that haven't done anything. You've had this since you were a kid and you know that it sucked. Don't let them go through it too, just because you want to make a point. And now here's the final edit. I've decided to tell them, but only on the condition they keep their mouths shut to our parents. If they don't agree to that, then they're on their own. I feel like this is a reasonable boundary, but I will tell them when the babies get older either way. It's not fair to the little ones. Now, what would you do in this situation if you was OP and you found out? Would you tell your siblings about the schizophrenia or not? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Stansky87. Am I the arsehole for making a kid wet his pants because I was using the kid's urinal? I, 36 male, was at the gym yesterday and I went to the men's bathroom after my workout to freshen up and pee before my drive home. After putting my gym bag down, I noticed there is one other guy in the whole bathroom and he is heading towards the urinal/toilets area too. Since he was a step ahead of me, he had first pick and took the far right adult urinal, and because of men's bathroom guy code and COVID, I took the far left kids urinal since I only had to pee, leaving only the centre adult urinal and 2 adjacent toilet stalls free. A split second after I started peeing though, I hear footsteps running up and stopping behind us. Although I can hear the uncomfortable rustling and grumbling of someone needing to pee, I continue to stare straight ahead and continue my business. But soon enough, I hear a kid crying and yell out, "Dad, help!" Startled, I swivel my head around and midstream to see a 5-ish-year-old boy standing behind me crying and a wet stain growing down the front of his shorts. Immediately, his dad runs in and shovels him into one of the 2 open toilet stalls. I felt bad for the kid, but since there's nothing I can do, I finish up, wash my hands and head over to change my clothes. While at my locker, I overhear the dad and sobbing boy finish up and come out the stall. Dad is still trying to calm his kid down at the sink and he says, "It's not your fault, that bad man isn't supposed to be using that one, it's for kids." As they walk by me to the exit, the boy still with tears down his eyes and snot down his nose says to me, "You're a bad man." Ouch, kid. My gym buddy, who is a parent, agrees with the dad and thinks kids' urinals should be reserved just for kids and little people, but I argue that all urinals are fair game if no kids or little people are in sight, since there's no rules or posted signs anywhere, and he could have used the store regardless. So Reddit, am I the arsehole here? And we're going to head straight to the comments with this one, with throwaway saying, "You're the arsehole, stop using kids' urinals. You took up a kid's urinal so you could follow some stupid men's rule. At your big age of 36, it's time to grow up." Crybaby Thought says, "You're the arsehole but low key. You had so many options and you literally chose the one that wasn't meant for you." Cinder Has Fallen said, "Dude, you had so many options and chose the only one that wasn't for you. You're the arsehole." Poe says, "You're the arsehole, you could have just waited until the other guy finished. Kids really cannot wait very long when they're young." Mystic says, and quotes, "I argue that all urinals are fair game," and then says, "You're assuming predictability from a highly unpredictable population, i.e. kids. There shouldn't need to be signage that says, this urinal is reserved for children and little people for it to be an understood rule. You also could have used the stall and observed COVID and general male etiquette. I hate saying you're the arsehole because I don't think you're an outright arsehole, but you were unintentionally selfish." And Dane Crane says, "Not the arsehole. You didn't hold up the kid's line to be a jerk. You were trying to follow corona guidelines and there were no kids waiting when you let the water flow. The dad was just a moron who blames his grievances on whoever's around. Don't feel bad about this one." So from the comments on this one, it was unanimously that he's the arsehole, but in some ways I kind of agree. Not on the whole male code thing, that's just bullshit, but the whole COVID thing and having that space between you, I think is, you know, it's kind of the expected thing at the moment. But at the same time, I do feel sorry for the kid, you know. No one likes to see a little kid be upset and crying and stuff like that, and OP did feel bad for it. But yeah, I was just going to throw that one out there. But what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from our very own r/daddy cringe subreddit. From Am I the Arsehole Crybaby, called Am I the Arsehole for talking smack about my dad? My dad took his role as a disciplinary figure very seriously. He tried to instill in me just about every tenet of traditional masculinity, the good and the bad. He taught me self-defense, sports, hunting, and to be respectful and protective of women. He also scolded me for crying, used corporal punishment, got mad when I failed at certain sports, and brushed off me being bullied as being too soft. He'd say things like, "If you're crying about these issues, you're never going to make it in the real world," or "Suck it up, buttercup, it's only going to get harder as you get older." I grew up physically strong, but stoic, bottling up my feelings to the point where I hardly felt anything at all. Now I'm trying to let myself be more vulnerable, and it's been a mess. Years of pent-up anger, fear, and sadness are spilling out of me, and it's taken a toll on my mental health. I've had issues like nightmares, fits of rage, depression, and panic attacks to the point of nausea. My college counsellor says it sounds like a textbook case of CPTSD, but I need to see a doctor for an official diagnosis. That's where the story comes in. I called my dad and told him I need more money to go to a clinic, but I was afraid to say what. He kept pressing me and I nervously told him it was for a diagnosis of CPTSD. At first, I thought he was going to joke. Son, if you fought in a war, I'd know about it. I tried to be as indirect as possible, but he got the hint that I was implicating him as the causes of my issues. Here's a shortened version of his side of the argument. Now you listen here, I raised you all by myself, working my ass off to feed you and keep a roof over your head. I taught you to respect authority, protect yourself, be physically fit and protect women. Does that sound abusive to you? The fact that you've internalized the hard truth about manhood as trauma says more about you than it does me. If you hate me that much, you'd have the balls to say it to my face, but you don't. You'd rather tell everyone else because you're too much of a pussy to admit that you're wrong. I'm not paying you to disrespect me like this. If I hear you talking smack about me again, kiss your tuition goodbye. I spent the afternoon feeling like I was going to have another panic attack. So many people have said what my dad is doing is wrong, but maybe I'm not giving him enough credit for the good he's done. He did do right for me some of the time, even if so much of what he did was wrong. Am I the arsehole? Damn, this is a tough story. Only because I'm trying to view it from both of their mental standpoints, right? This dad is a single dad trying to raise his child to be, I can only guess he's trying to raise him the way he was brought up himself. And I really think this story could potentially go both ways, just because different standpoints, different views. And so you have to take it, this is my personal view on it. And I personally think you're not the arsehole in this situation to be brought up in that way. Although your dad was probably trying to do right by you, he clearly loves you in some way. I can't say that is the right way to bring up a child. Yes, to bring them up, to be strong, to try and deal with the crazy world that we're living in right now. I totally get that. But to dampen their feelings and make them like, telling them if they're being bullied, they're too soft. Getting mad at you when you're failing and telling you if you're crying you're never going to make it in the real world. Fuck, I cry all the time and I'm doing okay at the moment, thank you. There's nothing wrong with letting those tears flow once in a while. It does good for you. And you were just going off the advice of your college counsellor to get a diagnosis, which is totally fine. You're trying to look after yourself, and if you don't, your mental state is just going to deteriorate even further. And surely the dad has got to see that and take a step back and see, yes, your mental health is very important. And I know I'm not just totally bashing the dad in this, because I think that in reading this, I think there is love there. The way he's tried to bring you up, the way he thinks is the best way to bring you up. So there's obviously something there where he's trying to prepare you for the real world. But you said maybe I'm not giving him enough credit for the good he's done. And sure, he may have got you to this point in life, but you're suffering traumatic effects from it. You're having mental breakdowns because of this that need to be addressed, because if they don't, they're only going to spiral and get worse. So maybe the father needs to take a step back at the same time and look, did I raise him in the best possible way? Could I have done anything different? And then maybe get some sort of counselling together so there's someone between you so you can explain things to each other. Because maybe the father's got some built up stuff going on as well. Maybe he was raised the same way, but has just been able to bottle up all this rage and stuff for all his life, and he's got so used to it now he's just keeping it internalized. Extremely tough one, and as I said, they're just my opinions. I'm not totally sure what is right here. I would say that Opie is not the arsehole in this situation because that's just what I believe. But I also would love to know your thoughts on this story too. Let's have a look at some of the comments to see what they say. Banana Pram says, not the arsehole. My father was much the same with me and my brother, who is brilliant and wonderful and not traditionally machismo. His philosophy was that there are no better motivators than fear and shame. He traumatized the shit out of my brother, held his tuition ransom and insisted on choosing his school, a major, though he himself barely finished high school. Your dad is an arsehole. My condolences. Femme Fartel says, not the arsehole. I have no doubt that your dad was doing the best he knew how. It seems like he had a specific vision of who he wanted you to be and tried to cram you into a box as hard as he could. But that doesn't mean it was right. Part of being a parent is knowing you're going to fuck something up. And when you get to know exactly what that was, you have to be prepared to make amends / apologise or try to help. Denying helps no one. I hope he calms down, stops being defensive and accepts his kid deserves his help right now. Santa Did says, not the arsehole, and try to show your father as much commission you're showing yourself. You can love and forgive him, but also not agree with how he raised you. He probably did the best he could, tried really hard, and it's probably the way he was raised. Doesn't make it okay though. He probably has just as much built up emotions as you do, but he's not allowing himself to be open to it. You are though, and I think that makes you stronger than him. You're 1000% not the arsehole, and you're not talking smack. Talking through your trauma and relearning to be the type of person you want to be is something your dad would never do, so he doesn't understand. Al Bagasso says, totally the arsehole. While you, my friend, had the dad some of us only dreamed about, and you talking smack about your dad makes you ungrateful, he gave you everything to survive in this cruel world. Unlike me, who grew up without a dad, I always wanted a dad just like yours, and to this day, I wondered how different my life would be if he had stayed with us. Think about it. OP replied to this saying, trust me, you don't want a dad like mine. You don't want a patriarch who rules by narcissism and intimidation, who will reprimand you for expressing certain emotions, who will be ashamed of you if you don't meet his criteria of traditional masculinity. He'd disown you outright if you turn out gay. I'm sorry you never had a dad. I never had a mum. Anthony PT123 says, you're the arsehole for talking smack about your dad to your dad when he's obviously not able to accept the truth, despite probably knowing he could have done better. You're the arsehole because you don't know any better. Raising a kid on your own is damn hard when people are telling you to suck it up, buttercup. Maybe if somebody offered to help your dad, he could have been better. What he lived, he passed on. Just try and be better than him. Many parents are pretty average, and average isn't great. Now once again, I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? It's an incredibly tough one in my opinion, but I would love to know your thoughts. Don't forget to comment below and vote on the poll in the description for story 4. Once again guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Thank you for being here. Have a great day now, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys, much love.